It looks like I'm a wreck. It's in the hole. It's in the hole.
Forget about the curveball, Ricky. Give him a heater.
Jerry.
Well, you know, we just don't have enough time for that.
You're very funny, Jerry. That's what I always tell people. Jerry's a funny guy. Funny guy! Right here!
Tom.
Give me a break. Good joke.
Pick up that piece of trash, Tom. Tuck in your shirt. What are you doing? Have a sense of pride, huh? In fact, why don't you take a lap? Go run a lap! I'm timing you!
Kevin.
You know, Ben is unique. You know, these guys are unique. They're championship runs. I mean, this one's unique.
You beat Kevin down Cherry Hill?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh.
I don't think you should be butting in when I'm talking to my team. You're my assistant, okay? You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box.
This is Running Up the Score.
All right, it's time to run up the score. Running up the score with Jerry Napoleonello, 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. Brought to you by Yelphi Sports app. We're live on Zeno Live, and we're also live on Periscope. Again, I'm here with Tom Galopani. The call-in number is, as always, 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. We have a lot to get to today. The Warriors have absolutely destroyed the Cavs through the first two games. Game 3 is tonight. Do the Cavs get back on track and emulate what happened last year? Predators came back from down 2-0 to tie the series. Game 5 tomorrow. Do the Predators create the chance to win the Cup in Nashville? Will the Astros continue this play throughout the season and break the win record? We're going to get into all of this and much, much more. Got a great show ahead of us. Thank you to our sponsor, Yelphi Sports app. You can download the app from the iTunes App Store by searching Yelphi. It's spelled Y-E-L-L-F-Y. Make sure to follow me at Jerry RUTS Sports and Tom at Tom RUTS Sports, and we'll follow you back. It's a great app. But first, remember to join in with our conversation through the next hour here by calling in at 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live, or tweet us at RUTS Sports. You can also follow us on Instagram at RUTS Sports and go like our Facebook page. So, we've had an interesting, week and a half, 2 weeks, because we weren't here this past week.
What we've been waiting for is finally upon us, and it's kind of going the rest of the playoffs I've went so far.
Yeah. I mean, the great thing, though, being that we haven't been here in 2 weeks or so, we've been able to do our podcasts. So we did a Running Up the Score podcast. We both did a 30-minute podcast, basically like we were going to do the show.
Yeah, it's a cool little twist. You guys should definitely check that out.
And to check that out, you could type in iTunes, Running Up the Score. All of our shows, podcasts, everything will be up there. I just did the Red Light District podcast last week. My Armchair Quarterback podcast is up. My Ball is Life podcast, the Running Up the Score, You're Running Up the Score.
We got Going Yard coming within the next 2 days.
Yeah, whenever you're ready to do that, you'll have my 3 coming up as well in the next 2 or 3 days or so. So definitely go check those out. Again, we have our store, which you would see these beauties, and you can buy those. It's on our website, www.rutsports.weebly.com. Go check them out. But first, I mean, like you said, what we've been waiting for, and it hasn't gone to the way that everybody thought it was going to be, the best finals ever. So
definitely to the disinterest of the NBA. This is not what they need.
No, but when you really think about it,
they're getting numbers. I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
so,
well, the first 2 games, I think beat the '98 finals in ratings. Another sport that's killing it in ratings, which we didn't expect, is the Stanley Cup Finals. They're killing it in the ratings. But the thing is with that, and I don't want to go too far off task here because we're talking about the NBA Finals here, and we'll get into the Stanley Cup Finals in a little bit. But the fact that and it kind of angers me that NBC has the rights to the Stanley Cup Finals. Why not have the whole finals on NBC? Yeah. Why are they switching on and off from NBC to NBC Sports Network?
It's not going to help.
No. I mean, trust me, it's better. And I've said this the last 2 weeks or so. Do you remember when the Stanley Cup Finals was on Versus? What a joke.
Yeah.
What a joke.
That was a tough time.
It really was.
That was a tough time.
It basically was after the strike. And we know what happened after the strike. They lost a lot. But these last couple of Stanley Cup playoffs have really brought hockey back to where they were. And I would love to see them get back on ESPN. But yeah, absolutely. But let's get into the nucleus of this NBA Finals. We're not going to get into the preview yet. The preview is going to be after the break. But the nucleus to this Finals. Now, we look at the Cavs team. The Cavs team is a team that was created by throwing a couple of guys together that signed with the Cavaliers. That was it.
It's LeBron, Kyrie, and a bunch of shooters.
Yeah, and nobody but Kyrie, and I mean LeBron was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, but you look at guys like Kyrie was drafted by the Cavaliers as well. But when you look at it, you have Kevin Love traded, Amon Shumpert traded, J.R. Smith traded, Kyle Korver traded. All these guys.
And you got LeBron James' posse that he's carried with him for like 10 years.
I would pump
James
the brakes
Jones
on that whole
Dante
posse,
Jones.
that posse word,
okay,
because you never
friends.
know.
Excuse me.
But
forgot about that.
But the Warriors now. The Warriors are a team that were put together through the draft. And that's when you look back at it, you sit back and you're like, How could we even complain about the Warriors being a super team? I mean, other than bringing in Kevin Durant.
That's the only way you can even start that conversation.
It's just Kevin Durant.
Yeah, because as you said, they didn't do anything wrong.
They drafted Clay. They drafted Draymond. They drafted Steph. I mean, that's the nucleus to that team.
Like, obviously, they're bench players for the most part. Those are like the aging veterans that you need for a young team like that.
Wasn't Ian Clark drafted by the Warriors as well?
I can't tell.
I'm pretty sure he was. But, Pachulia was brought in. But overall, the nucleus to that team is drafted. So we cannot sit back here and say, wow, they created a super... Yeah, they did it, but they did it the right way. They did it through the draft. So the only ones that we have to blame is the 29 other teams that didn't draft these guys.
Well, the thing with Steph was, I remember it was the ankles coming out of college.
Yeah, and he was small. He was coming out of Davidson.
And all he really had was that one run in the tournament. There wasn't...
Nobody
like he
really
had
a
sustained college career. It was just that one NCAA tournament where he went off.
The end of civilization is...
But as you're saying, it's a built team. The only way you could really even start anything is Durant. But where things get interesting with this team is, I believe Clay and Steph are still on I don't want to say, are they on rookie deals or just? It might still be rookie deals.
Yeah, well, yeah,
they would have to be.
yeah.
So they have those two guys. Steph is going to get $200 million this offseason.
Yeah. Ian Clark wasn't drafted by.
Okay.
He was drafted by the Utah Jazz.
Granted, Durant said he would take less money, but how much less money when Klay Thompson needs to get paid? He's going to be over $100 million.
Well, as I've told a few people, I feel like Klay Thompson's going to be the first one to go.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think he's going to be the guy to go.
Especially now with Durant.
Yeah, and with Durant taking less money, him taking less money is mainly so that they can give
Get
him
Steph.
Well, not even really Steph, but it's so that they can kind of keep together this team and keep Andre Iguodala,
Yeah.
Guys like that that they're
Sean Livingston.
Yeah, those guys that are main parts of the bench, main parts of their system. So basically by him taking less money this year, it would be keeping that team together for a little bit, like a few more years, I guess. So it's going to be interesting to see how.
I think losing Klay would hurt, though. That's
Absolutely.
their best defender.
I mean, look. See, now I knew he was a good defender. I didn't know he was that good.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into that more when we preview this game. But, I mean, the defense that he's playing on Kyrie, on whoever basically he's guarding, is absolutely insane. And Kevin Durant, he was never able to guard LeBron James the way he is right now. And, I mean, you have to tip your cap to Kevin Durant for the way that he's playing offensively and defensively. But Vegas has the Warriors beating the 95-96 Bulls. That's considered the best team ever. I think I would have to agree with them.
I don't.
The thing is, now, all right.
It's just two different styles. The Bulls will just bully them. They'll just man up.
I understand that, but
and we saw it last year. The Golden State can't handle man up.
But when
for
you
some
really,
reason Cleveland hasn't done this year yet.
When you really look at it though, the speed of the Golden State Warriors is going to have a problem, with the Bulls. Yeah. Their speed, the way that.
But Rodman or even Pippen is completely taking out Draymond. Completely taking out Draymond.
You could say that, but when you're really looking at it, the way that this Warriors team plays, they're playing outside in. They're not playing inside out. That's not how they play.
Yeah.
Jordan really wasn't that great of a three-point shooter. They really didn't have any other three-point shooter. They had Tony Kukoc, Steve Kerr, possibly, but these guys on the same court. You wouldn't be able to have Tony Kukoc on the court. You wouldn't be able to have Steve Kerr on the court because he wouldn't be able to defensively be against these Warriors.
Unless you slow it down. Which
Cleveland,
I feel like
they're
needs
trying.
To do this year.
They're trying to slow it down, but it's just not happening.
It's just not even fair to compare because of how different the game is now.
Yeah.
The game now is three-pointers.
Yeah.
So if the game was three-pointers during Jordan's era, guess what? He would have been shooting more threes.
Absolutely.
He wasn't shooting threes because he didn't have to.
But
that's just how the game is nowadays.
Altogether, though, he was an okay three-point shooter.
Yeah, no,
I think he averaged.
That wasn't what made
30,
Jordan, but
30, it was like 38%, I think, from three. But altogether, I just feel like the speed and the way that the Warriors play,
I don't know,
would give the Chicago
they're mentally
Bulls
weak,
fits.
and that's
that's
Michael Jordan.
I mean,
he'll eat them alive
again. I don't like comparing, generations because it's just stupid.
Fair.
It's just stupid. But it also, this kind of stuff. Again, the main part of this argument is Vegas is saying it. How many times is Vegas wrong?
Yeah.
That's the scary thing. Who knows what's going on with Vegas? But it's just that's how it is. But now, really, we weren't able to talk about it because it happened before Game 2 and after Game 2. And that's LeBron James not going to the podium. There was reports saying that he didn't like to wait he's been waiting a lot lately going to the podium. I'm going to ask you first because I have a pretty strong opinion about this. I want to hear what you have to say, and then I'll give you my opinion on this. Him not going to the podium, and do you want me to play the clips first, or do you want to play the clips after you?
No, I'd rather give my...
All right, give your opinion.
You got to do what you got to do. You got to go up there. You got to do it. I'm sorry, but it's in your contract. It's part of the game. Marshawn Lynch had to do it. He was, I believe, diagnosed with some social.
Yeah.
If he had to do it, you got to do it, especially when you're LeBron James. I know it's tough times. You lost, but you have to do it. No matter if they make you wait, they make you wait.
Exactly.
You have to do it.
Now, I'm going to play the clips before, I get into what I have to say. But
it's not going to change your opinion.
No, absolutely not. So this is basically him after, I think it's after Game 2. This is after Game 2.
Is this the case where you guys just need to defend home court at this point?
Well, I mean, are you a smart guy?
I think so, for sure.
I think so, right? So if we don't defend home court, what happens?
But yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm asking you.
Well, yeah, then you guys are looking at getting swept.
All right. So that answers your question.
So that's what he had to say after Game 2. He's being a little snippy. That was him in the locker room, basically like a scrum. What you would actually see during the year, like that's what you would see.
Yeah.
LeBron, no, because he would go to the podium like that. It was like you would usually see after a regular season game, LeBron definitely, and then basically whoever had a great game other than LeBron. This is your. This is what you get for being the best player in the league. Agreed. You have to go to the podium, and I want to compare this to another player that ended up going to the podium after a bad loss, and everybody killed him for what he did. That's Cam Newton. Cam Newton, after the Super Bowl, was snippy, ended up leaving the podium early. This is what happens. This is what you have to do. And I don't understand why people kill Cam Newton for it, but nobody says anything about LeBron James not going to the podium. This is what you have to do. That's the part of the game. If you don't want to wait, go win the game. Because the winning team ends up getting to the podium earlier than the losing team.
I think the only reason I could think of is Cam's was just one game. It's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is more, it has to happen every game.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just, that's the only thing I could personally think of. I'm not defending what he did
Anybody
at all,
other than LeBron James, no one gives a hoot about it. But it's LeBron James. Could you imagine if Kobe Bryant didn't go to the podium? Could you imagine if Michael Jordan didn't go to the podium?
It's just how people are these days.
This is what you have to do.
Soft generation.
He
needs the rest.
That's what it is. And
mend his wounds.
Speaking of getting rest, this is what LeBron had to say today. I believe it was today during this morning's shoot around. This is what he had to say.
Guarding KD, does it take a toll on you? Like in the second half, maybe?
Are we tired?
I don't know. People's
No,
that
people.
to me when
No.
That's the question I've been answering.
Nah, I feel
radio
great.
shows.
I'm averaging a triple-double in the finals. I'm pretty good. I would think.
I don't like that.
No one cares about triple doubles,
like
though,
that.
right? No one cares about triple doubles, right? That's been the talk about everything lately, especially with Russell Westbrook. Nobody cares about a triple double, but then you go off and you say, "Wow, well, I'm averaging a triple double." There's obviously a drop off from the first half to the second half.
This postseason or just like his career? He's saying that
the postseason this year.
Okay.
So it's actually just in the finals this year.
Okay. So
But-
it's even less like.
Yeah, it's 2 games.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That you got blown out by like
Yeah.
45 combined
Exactly.
points.
So the thing is, everybody made a whole big stink that everybody was talking about the triple-double with Russell Westbrook. It doesn't matter if you're getting a triple-double because this has been the talk. It doesn't matter if you don't get it, if you get a triple-double if you still lose. It doesn't matter. Okay, then why are you bringing that up yourself? That's another thing. That's a cocky thing to say. That
It's very like on LeBron too.
Exactly, and that's what I really wanted to get into is that he's being very unlike LeBron.
Definitely.
Throughout the first 2 games of this series, and this is another thing that he had to say. And I'm gonna have a strong take on this, and this is what he said yesterday during the media availability for Game 3.
It's something that that I feel like it's okay for me to kind of always go back and know that I can refocus. I can get my guys ready, get myself ready. But you hate to continue to put yourself in these positions, but at the end of the day, it's still just basketball, man. And and that's what gets me comfortable and more comfortable about it because it's just a game. And I prepare myself. I'm going to go out and do my job and, live with the results.
You know what that sounded like?
What's that?
Someone that gave up.
Kind of does.
That comment right there was unlike LeBron, was unlike one of the best players in the NBA history, was unlike any kind of star for their team.
Maybe he's just had it.
That comment was somebody saying, we are not going to beat this team. This team is too good. We're doing everything that we can. I'm doing everything that I can, and it's not good enough. And nothing is going to be good enough. And that's what it sounded like because he was saying, we'll live with the result. It's just a game. No, it's the NBA Finals. This is what everybody that is in the NBA dreams of being in. I understand that it's his 7 straight, but you're coming out and saying that you're chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is not going to say something like that. Kobe Bryant is not going to say something like that. Magic Johnson is not going to say something like that. You don't just say it's just a game. Never once did I ever hear a major league or a professional athlete ever say it's just a game because it's not just a game. This is your job, This is your job. Your goal is to win a championship. Every year, you get paid to win a championship. That's what you're getting paid for. The fact that he came out and said it's just a game, we'll live with the result. That is someone going into Game 3 defeated.
Yeah. I mean, why shouldn't he be though?
Realistically, I can say I understand why he is.
Obviously, you can't. But I get your point.
As a fan of the Cavaliers, that's not something you want to hear.
No, even as a fan of the NBA, that's not what you want to hear because what excitement does that bring to Game 3?
Yeah,
it's like, oh well, if LeBron mailed it in. What chance do the Cavs have?
And this kind of takes it into another thing. And basically, we were talking, like, everybody's been talking about LeBron James, Michael Jordan, who's the greatest of all time, this, that, whatever. And people like that love LeBron James sit back and say, why is everybody hate LeBron James? Why can't we just appreciate what he's bringing to the sport? We only appreciate players when they retire. And it's just that's just a fact of it. We only appreciate players when they retire. Derek Jeter appreciated when he retired. I mean, he was one athlete that kind of was appreciated and respected throughout his whole career because of just what he brought to the sport. But Alex Rodriguez, and I don't want to say everybody appreciated, but he was appreciated when he retired. Mariano Rivera appreciated when he retired. You have Kobe Bryant was definitely appreciated when he retired. Everybody hated him when he played. Mm-hmm. It all together comes down to appreciating when they retire. And to me, my feeling on it is because everybody's a fan of a team. And if that person is not on your team, why are you going to root for a guy to come to play your team and defeat your team?
Yeah.
So, like, that was my feeling on how, like, why we appreciate players when they retire. Because it's like, all right, I could sit back and say, wow, Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan was hated also when he was playing. I could say, oh, wow, Michael Jordan. I mean, that guy, the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time. You know, I could sit back and look at different players. Cal Ripken, you know, appreciated. You know, you appreciate that when you're, you know, after they retire because you never have to see them beat your team again. So, you know, I wanted to see what you...
No, I think that's something I never really thought of.
Right?
In that sense.
I was literally, I was thinking about it. I mean, everybody says, like, oh, yeah, you know, you appreciate it when... But, like, I was thinking about it the other day. I was just driving, and, you know, it just kind of came to my mind. I was like, you know what? Like, maybe that's the reason why these players are, you know, appreciated when they retire.
That was deep.
Deep.
That was deep stuff.
You got to take it deep.
That was... I don't even know where to go from there.
I mean, how, do you feel the same way?
No, I do. And like I said, that never even clicked in my head as a reason. And like something came over me, and when you said that, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's it because. And in the case that you said of Derek Jeter, obviously being an Orioles fan, never personally liked the guy because of the team he played for.
Yeah.
But I respected him in a sense. But I wanted him gone.
Yeah.
You know, just because, like, anytime he came up, the crowd would, oh, Jeter's up. You know, this could start something. He could get the game-winning run. It's like, just go.
Yeah.
Just get out of here. But then he's finally gone. It's like, no. He was
what
a good
he
guy.
did to the sport.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah, you don't want, like... that's how I feel about LeBron James. It's like, go. But, like, when you really think about it, it's like, all right, well, you know, what are we going to have after LeBron James? Like, who's going to take
like 10
over?
years from now when you're seeing, I don't know, it could be like, how long, the Hall of Fame is what, 5 years, right?
I
5-year
believe
wait?
so, yeah, something like that.
So it could be 10 years from now, potentially, his, like, highlight reel or something. Just those crazy dunks. It could be
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
Damn,
like, yeah,
this guy
wow.
was...
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's just wait to see what everybody says about LeBron James after his career.
He's too big to, like, do it now because you have just so many mixed opinions.
Yeah.
That I think you're right that once the dust settles, if you will, we'll get a better...
feel of where you can...
Where
I mean, like, we
kinda-
can have a debate after.
Yes.
Like, after he retires.
Yes.
So let's get into some NFL real quick before we take a break.
Speaking of appreciating players, something the Jets do not do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are upset about not having a press conference for David Harris.
They should be upset.
I mean, the guy was drafted by the Jets.
Not only, I mean, 10 years, he was there for both championship teams.
He was
key
there for
member of those championship teams, mind you. I mean, we're talking about a middle linebacker.
Yeah,
that's
the quarterback of the
backbone.
defense.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't have a problem with what the Jets are doing. It's just how they're doing it.
Yeah,
and I think that's how everybody feels. Every Jet fan feels, and they should be extremely frustrated because, like I said, it's not what they're doing to be frustrated about. It's how they're going about it. And it's not just cutting David Harris this late, potentially screwing up his chances of getting another team, but there was just a Twitter post for a 10-year vet, a guy
what I'm
that
saying.
led the best defense in the league to 2 title games, a tweet.
And they informed Eric Decker of either releasing him or trading him by the end of the week.
Which was a big mistake because now everybody will just wait for him to be released.
Yeah, exactly. Are the Jets tanking?
Yes.
110%. I mean, that's... How could you not think that they're tanking? And the funny thing is...
Well, it's weird because now we're just like in this era of
tanking.
This word tanking.
Yeah.
Is it tanking or is it rebuilding? Because the old word was
it was rebuilding, yeah, and now it's tanking. But the funny thing is now, obviously, the two quarterbacks are the big names coming out.
I believe there's 3 next year, like decent.
There could be, yeah. But
guy.
Darnold is the guy that everybody, and I think Sam Rosen is the other one.
The USC guy.
So these guys obviously are not seniors, so they could do something if they wanted to, and go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're looking at this team, you're looking at this Jets team.
Now, college obviously ends before the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how he would be able to.
Oh, you're gonna know.
You're gonna
know.
Okay.
You're gonna know. They can just go back to school because you're looking at the low 2 teams that are gonna have the number 1 and the number 2 pick.
Browns
and the Jets. A lot of people think that the Jets have a worse roster than the Browns do.
I would agree.
I have to say they do.
100% agree.
Because this team is horrendous.
The Browns are actually somewhat on a right path at least.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah.
They got some glimmer of hope with all the draft picks they've been getting.
This Jets team looks horrendous. And then you look at what happened in the club that one night.
Well, this might actually be... This is kind of like a good thing in a way, like almost. It's half and half because one is like your...
These are the best players on their team right now.
I was just going to say, one is a first-rounder from one year, and one is a first-rounder from another year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, look at our first-round pick step up and help out our other first-round pick get out of a scuffle. But it was good to see the bigger guy step in there and...
well, at least we know that
it wasn't.
At least we know that they weren't against each other.
Yeah,
because when you look at the video, it kind of looks like they were.
It does.
But
it's just crazy to see a grown man get absolutely manhandled by someone else. That's a horrifying thought.
But when we get back, we're gonna get into another New York.
Diva
star or a diva and then another previous New York coach. We'll talk about that and maybe even a top wide receiver that's out on the market, and then obviously the playoffs, the finals, both finals. We'll get into a preview of each of those games and some other things as well. When we get back, you're listening to Running Up the Score.
All Noise Radio. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. All Noise Radio is an internet radio station that's fully produced by graduates of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. From modern rock to old school hip hop, country to classical, news, talk, sports, and more. It's the noise you can't ignore. Log on to allnoiseradio.com. Fire up the station. Find out more about your favorite jocks. Get the latest CSB news and more. Plus, you can take All Noise Radio with you on the go for free. Just download the Live 365 app to your iPhone, iPod Touch, or BlackBerry and search All Noise Radio. Check out tomorrow's broadcasters today at allnoiseradio.com. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Hey, this is Jerry Napoleonello, host of Running Up the Score. We are live once every week at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we hit on all the top headlines in the world of sports. You can also find us on Stitcher, iTunes, and those of you that like the visual aspect, check us out on YouTube. Running Up the Score. We run up the score on Sports Radio.
Cyberstation USA is the future of radio. Get your business into the online future at the world's largest internet radio station. From banner placement on our homepage to any of our broadcaster stages, commercials on our video player, audio spots on any of our shows, or at the beginning of any of our on-demand broadcasts. Cyberstation USA offers competitive rates with a worldwide reach. A fully integrated one-stop shop social media broadcast platform. For more information, please contact our sales department at Cameo at cyberstationusa.com.
That's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come on, let me get some. Never gonna back down. Never gonna break one bend. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for.
All right, Jerry, let's get into the previews of Game 3 of the NBA Finals and Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. But first, give us a call at 605-562-7085. Press 5 to be heard live. You can also give us a follow and tweet us at RUTS Sports, as well as a follow on Instagram at RUTS Sports. And check out our website, www.rutsports.weebly.com. And here we go, Game 3, Jerry.
Before we get into Game 3, hey, Tom, doesn't it get annoying when you're watching sports? Let's say you want to send a text to a friend, or you tweet something out about the game, or check your fantasy team, or, hey, how about you want to go to the game and even set up a tailgate party, and you have to go to all these different apps, websites, etc. to do all of that. What if you could just go to one place for all of this?
Is there such a place?
I'm here to tell you there is such place.
What is such place?
That such place is Yelphi Sports app. You can get a detailed, real-time sports stats, news, rumors, fantasy news, team and player comparisons, built-in social network feature, which is integrated with Twitter and Facebook, create private one-to-one or group chats with your friends, buy and sell tickets, host a tailgate party, or even a pickup game. One sports app for all of your sports information. Make sure you go download Yelphi Sports app in the iTunes App Store. Yelphi, the only sports app that you need. Game 3, here we go.
Let's hope that Cavaliers being home kind of does something to make this a series, at least.
You would hope so?
And I don't even think this is... The Cavs don't even need to just win this game. They need to get in their heads. They need to win by double digits. They need to get physical.
Yeah.
Tristan Thompson needs to
rebound,
show that he's worth $96 million that he demanded in the offseason. Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith. It'd be nice if you decided to come to a game.
Yeah.
You know, maybe hit a shot that you get paid millions of dollars to do.
I know.
I don't know.
The funny thing is, though, like this whole finals, I'm kind of hoping for a sweep. I'm kind of hoping for a total massacre.
The only reason I'm not, and it has nothing to do with LeBron. It's just I don't know. I just don't. Just Durant, man. He just bothers me. Just going in that team.
Like a lot of people don't like Durant. Like, and we talked about it 2 weeks ago.
I've liked Durant his whole career, but it was just such a coward move. I'm sorry. Cowardly, man.
We spoke about it, though. We spoke about it, 2 weeks ago? And we said that he did what he had to do for himself. And I understood that. You understood it at the time. It's whatever. My thing is, I think the NBA kind of has to have a slap in the face. And I think a 4-game sweep, absolute massacre, is going to be that slap in the face.
See, this is another.
I'm
somewhere else.
Yeah,
man.
I'm just
somewhere else.
I'm on top of it. I feel like maybe this will put a fire under their seats to maybe make a change of some sort. I don't know what it's going to be.
That's what the thing, you know. But with the salary cap increasing every year, does that help? Does that hurt? I feel like it hurts almost because that just gives
them more of a reason to
more chances to get other players in.
And this is another thing that's annoying me about the NBA Finals and the NBA itself. Can you tell me why Game 1 was on June 1st, and if, God forbid, we go to a Game 7, it's on June 18th? Why is the NBA Finals longer than the Olympics?
Let's think of this. Okay. 7 games.
Yes.
First, 18th. 18 days. 7 games, 18 days. Just over 3 days in between each game.
Yes.
Not needed.
It's not. It's not.
It's just not needed.
When was Game 2? Game 2 was what? Sunday?
Yeah, I was just going to say Sunday.
Why is Game 3 on Wednesday? Why do we have 3 days in between?
Shitties.
But
actually,
I would understand if you went 2 days.
Is I believe it was 3 days in between Game 1 and Game 2. You're in the same exact city.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no reason to have 2 days in between games that are in the same city. I'd understand if it was a travel day, you have 2 days in between game 2 and game 3. I'd understand it. 3 days in between game 2 and game 3 is absolutely ridiculous.
On top of a week off.
That's what I'm saying.
From
it was 7 to 8 days or whatever it was in between the Eastern and Western Conference Finals and the finals itself. This it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Or they have to do something about that.
Can we?
I mean, look at the NHL Finals. The Stanley Cup Finals started the day before the day before the NBA Finals started. We're already through 4 games. Game 5 is tomorrow.
Now, people out there, just help me out.
A more physical sport, by the way.
Which is more? I was just gonna. what is more taxing on your body?
I'm on top of it.
What is it? I mean, really though, like. It's comical. It's almost like
you know what? You know what's even more comical? That supposedly they did some scientific thing saying that NBA is more physical than hockey.
Oh, that's so adorable.
It is adorable. I mean, because I don't.
I guess when you the basketball hit you get like a
little jam finger. Yeah, exactly. I just
it's not a 95 mile per hour puck to your face.
Yeah, I like it. It makes me laugh.
I want to talk to those scientists.
Yeah,
I want to see their identification.
Now, like, I guess we'll get into the actual play.
It's probably that Scott Brinkus guy, sports science. Yeah, scientist.
We'll get into the actual play on the court. But before we do that, is Steve Kerr a big difference for the Golden State Warriors?
Steve Kerr himself is not a big difference. His system is the difference.
Okay. Now, did you actually hear the comment by Steve Kerr saying that the Golden State Warriors are more defensively sound because of Mark Jackson?
I would believe that, actually.
I thought that was that was a nice compliment. I think
because he got kind of gypped in a way, Mark Jackson.
Oh, absolutely.
It seemed like the players, I don't know how it went all down, but something obviously wasn't clicking, whether it was with Steph. But he definitely instilled some kind of mental toughness, or just let them be themselves, or something. Yeah. He did. Part of Mark Jackson is still with this
absolutely,
Warriors team.
100%. The other thing is, I mean, you have,
not to mention Mike Brown also helps with the defense.
Yeah,
he's a very good defensive guy.
You have Mike Brown that is undefeated as a coach so far with the Golden State Warriors. Another funny tidbit that we brought up a couple of weeks ago. Mike Brown is actually, and I even brought it up on Baller's Life too. Mike Brown's getting paid by both teams, so that's also funny. I actually like Steve Kerr. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a great coach.
Personality.
To me, right now, the way that Steve Kerr is, I feel like it's Brian Cashman. We thought Brian Cashman was a great GM, bringing all these guys in and everything like that, and he was never really appreciated for his actual job. Mm-hmm. Then the Yankees go out and they start selling all these players. They start bringing in these guys, and now the Yankees have, if not the best, they have the second best farm system in the league.
He really did it both ways, if you will.
Yeah,
Cashman.
So he's more
appreciated. Something about his face I don't like, though. You know what I mean? nothing to do with his GM. Just something about him. Yeah. That's all.
Hey,
just
maybe because he's got a Yankee emblem on his head,
no, it's just something here.
Maybe he could do something about his face.
I don't know, but nothing. Yeah,
it's still
completely unrelated.
No, but I feel like it's the same thing. Like we can't really appreciate Steve Kerr because of the team that he's got right now. So it's not like everybody's going to look at Steve Kerr and it's like anybody can coach this team.
But at the same time, then why wasn't Mark Jackson's team winning 70 games?
No, and that's why I brought up the comparison with Brian Cashman, because it's like now we're actually looking at Brian Cashman and how good of a GM he actually is.
And that's why I said what I said originally. I think he's needed in the sense of this is his system of how they play the game and go about it. So, yes, he's needed in that regard. Is he needed on the sidelines right now? No. Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
many people will say that this team can coach themselves.
Well, how many? If Mike Brown potentially could get another job out of it, Luke Walton got another job.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. That's what I wanted to say too, because Luke Walton was 28-1 as a coach. So.
How much of that was really?
So that's
he's doing. He could be doing some good things.
I've
always
on
loved
what
Luke.
growing up,
especially with his dad on ESPN back in the day.
He's a nut job.
He's a nut job, but he made those games so much fun.
Yeah,
and you always rooted for Luke when he was in, hit a three. So I'm rooting for him for sure.
Golden State Warriors, could they actually be the best team?
Like best team, like just at flat.
I mean, like we kind of like brought this up earlier. We were
before.
talking about this earlier, but
if they sweep, absolutely.
I would have.
I would say they would be in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
They would have to be.
Did you see Steph Curry during Game 2?
I don't believe I saw that.
He laid down on the baseline, put a towel over his head, and
well,
I knew like
do that. Not over his head, but he would.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
chillax.
But.
He was just straight up like blindfolded.
Yeah, like I knew like when it popped up on my TV, I was like,
"That's gonna be."
I'm not even gonna look at Twitter because I know it's gonna blow up. People, I don't know. I don't understand. Now, are you in the same?
These are like kind of the reasons why I'm like not, or well, I am now forcibly on Twitter. But it's just people like that where it's just like, why do you exist?
Yes, I made a Twitter for you forcibly, I guess you could say, yes. You can follow him at Tom RUTS Sports. I also brought it up on my podcast, too, to follow you. The thing with that, like, are you in the same crowd of the I hate Steph Curry crowd?
No.
I actually like it. I love everything that he brings to the court.
The only thing I don't like is the mouth guard.
I love the
That's the only thing I don't like. It's the mouth guard. Shooting the mouth guard. That's the only thing that I don't know why. He obviously it's not like during play. I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has. I don't know.
He puts it to the side of his mouth.
Yeah,
I know.
That's it.
Yeah.
His game. No, I love watching him.
I love the cockiness. Yeah. I love if people were killing him for doing that little big step thing.
It's fun watching him grow from
what he was at Davidson.
Such a little baby, metaphorically, just so tiny. Obviously, he still is.
His
tiny,
handles are ridiculous.
But he's just matured so much, and where he's not, when he was scared to shoot.
Yeah.
The first couple. Now he's.
I mean, that's the greatest part of it.
Yeah.
We talked about LeBron being gassed. Do you actually think he's gassed? Because there's numbers that showed, especially in Game 2,
I feel like
the difference from the first half to the second half. The first half, I mean, I think they said he had 8 drives. His average distance from the basket for his shots were 3.3. In the second half, he had no drives, and his average feet from the basket was 16.3.
I don't know, because I feel like this has been a topic for at least 5 years with LeBron.
Yeah.
Is he gassed on all these finals in a row, and then he just goes off for 45 with a triple-double.
Not to mention, he's already put 30 up, at least 30 up in the first 2 games. So he had a triple-double.
I don't want to say gas. I just think he knows they're going to lose.
It goes to what he was saying before.
I really think that it's just why
he's doing everything he can.
Why exuberate all this energy, doing everything I possibly can, and we're still going to lose.
Now, there's another question out there. Will LeBron stay in Cleveland?
Where would he go?
Some people are saying the Lakers.
But didn't he just do a 3-year thing, or can he opt out?
He could probably. He definitely got
James.
some kind of opt-out thing in there. But I mean, it's definitely it's up for discussion.
I mean, if he went west,
it would be interesting.
You might as well
for him
just get rid of the Eastern Conference.
It would be interesting to see him go to the West.
Why would you though? You know what I mean? Why?
No, I know. Because he's got it made in the sand. In the East, because the East is. I mean, we just saw it. They ran through the East, and then they hit the Warriors, and now we're like, all right, well.
The thing with
were they that good?
LeBron is he could go to the Brooklyn Nets and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it doesn't matter where.
Yeah.
Per se, but if you can't get the right pieces around you here, where an owner is literally $100 million over the salary cap, where.
Oh, I know.
You know.
We'll move on to the other finals now. We'll see. Game 3 is tonight. It's actually starting in about an hour and 10 minutes. I think it's a 9 o'clock start. But we're getting into the finals now for the Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup Finals. We're tied 2-2.
The one that's 2 games ahead of the other final.
Yeah, that started a day after each other. Game 1 and Game 2. And I spoke about this on my podcast. And I even brought it up on the Running Up the Score podcast as well. It was a very, very odd first 2 games, especially Game 1. For the fact that Pittsburgh won Game 1 with 12 shots and they put 5 goals in was insane. The fact that
Was
they
that
went,
just, you think, just pressure, the Stanley Cup nerves getting to him?
I don't even think Pecorine, he gave up some questionable goals, but there was the first 2 games there was
one of those
I think
things
2 or 3 goals that went in off a defender.
Yeah.
But Game 1 and Game 2 they were very odd. The Game 1 I believe I'm pretty sure it was Game 1. The Pittsburgh Penguins didn't have a shot on goal for 36 minutes.
Yeah, so I remember seeing that.
So, the fact that the Nashville Predators ended up losing those 2 games and Pecorine was terrible.
Game 1 was 5-3. Game 2 was 5-1 or 5-2, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Game 3 and Game 4. First of all, Nashville has been unbelievable. The crowd, I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
They've been unbelievable. Not to mention, and actually, you know what? Nashville is incredible because the Predators, I'm going to say that they've outplayed the Penguins probably all but maybe 2 periods in the first 4 games. Game 3 and Game 4, Pecorine was absolutely fantastic. He showed what we've saw from Pecorine
earlier in the playoffs.
Early in the whole playoffs, really. And just him.
He's had a nice run.
There was a lot of questions after Game 2 because he ended up getting pulled in Game 2. There was a lot of questions. And this is what Peter Laviolette had to say during the press conference before Game 3. And I want to get your opinion on it and what you think he basically was saying throughout this thing.
2 questions for you, Peter. Who is your starting goaltender tonight?
Next question.
Peter, just generally about Pekka. In your time here in Nashville, what have you noticed about him, seen with regard to his ability to take on whatever adversity comes his way, bounce back, those sorts of things?
He's been the backbone of our team for 3 years. Well, longer than that. I've been here for 3 years, so that's all that I can really speak to. Whenever there's any adversity, Pekka's always faced it. Had a terrific regular season. Got us to this point through the regular season, comes into the playoffs, and has had a terrific run. So there's a lot of confidence, not only with our team, but also with Pekka.
All right. So that was the same press conference. That first question was right in the beginning of it. That last question was right at the end of it. Now, when you look back at that, him saying, next question, do you think that was a good thing or a bad thing?
I think that was a good thing for his goalie.
Yeah.
That's just saying, that's a clown question, bro.
And that's exactly what I was going to get into. That's him basically having respect for Pecorine.
Yeah.
Saying
that's not even...
that it's not even a question. Next question. And then if you even questioned what he meant by that first question...
He follows it.
You hear that last answer.
Mm-hmm.
If there was any thought in your mind that he was actually going to have Pecorine on the bench for Game 3, you're
But that's why coaches get
the big
paid
bucks.
what they get. They get paid because of comments like that.
Yeah.
While it's subtle and it's not much, Pekka heard that and appreciated it.
Absolutely.
And wants to play hard for that coach now.
And, being that we were talking about the NBA Finals and NHL Finals, someone made their way to Nashville for Game 4, and he made it to the intermission talk and with, Mike Milbury and everybody. And it was Sir Charles.
I'm just glad to be here because the NBA playoffs have not been great, but the Stanley Cup playoffs have been amazing.
What's the matter with you talking about the NBA playoffs? Don't they get a paycheck for talking about that in a nice way?
Well, first of all, they can't fire me.
They can't?
No, because they got to pay me.
All right.
That's why I signed a long-term deal.
You have to get a deal like that, Mike.
Yeah, please. I got the option deal.
I thought it was great.
That's perfect.
I thought it was great because it's just everybody's just killing the NBA, everybody, and it's just making the NHL look better.
You can't not agree.
No,
with the guy.
100%. I know.
Not even just the hockey part, but just how bad the NBA has been.
I know. But another bad thing for a team, and the team is the New York Giants. Odell Beckham. He's in his 4th year. You have a 6-year rookie contract. After 4, you can get a new deal.
Guess who wants a new deal?
Guess who wants a new deal? Odell Beckham Jr.
You know, the $5 million per year from the Nike is just
well, that I think
not
that
enough.
that is the driving point of this, is that he's sitting back and he's like, I'm getting paid more by a shoe than I am my own team. And how could that happen?
Okay, but in the same sense, he needs to grow up.
Oh,
which is not
100%.
going to happen, and realize that when Eli's gone in 2 years,
he's screwed.
He is so beyond screwed, and everyone is going to see that he's a great wide receiver. I'm not saying that, but he's not putting up the numbers he's putting up now. And he needs to realize that, and he could play out these 2 years with the Giants, do his 100 catches,
exactly,
do playoffs, whatever. You know, you never know with the Giants, and make even more money than he could get by restructuring right now.
Yeah. Now, what's the one team that sets up a blueprint for all the other 31 teams in the league?
Patriots.
Absolutely. What would the Patriots do with this one? Exactly. And that's the funny thing. Because it's like, first of all, the Giants don't have to pay him.
Actually, they wouldn't say bye yet.
No, they would wait. They would wait out the next 2 years. The thing is,
maybe they would, because they just did it to Jamie Collins.
Yeah.
They would get rid of him the year that he's
supposed to get paid. Yeah.
He would be
so
bye.
The Giants do not need to pay him, and they just spent
almost
crap
a quarter of $1 billion
of money on that defense, and they still have holes on that team. That's the thing. They still have holes on that team.
Offensive line.
And now all of a sudden, your diva wide receiver wants to get paid to be the highest paid wide receiver.
I'm sorry, I'm telling him to shut up.
That's what I would tell him no. I would tell him no. There is no reason. And I think like he could play out like if he only played like 8 games or something like that, he would end. That's like a full
And by the
year.
way, I have no problem with him skipping the OTAs.
I don't have a problem with
That's
him either.
not the issue here at all, because for him, you know, he could get injured, and then there goes all of his money. So from that,
I understand the strategic part of missing OTAs.
That's fine. But when you got to be there, you better freaking be there.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's going to be interesting how this plays out. But before we get out of here, I wanted to get into, basically, first of all, Lonzo Ball worked out with the Lakers today. That was interesting. We have all offseason to talk about the Seahawks' problems, and we'll talk about those, trust me. Masahiro Tanaka got shelled
Speaking
again.
of problems.
Yeah, shelled again. And then the opposite of Masahiro Tanaka, the Astros are on pace to beat the win record in the MLB. Do you think they will?
No.
I don't think they will as well. But here, and we have the next 2 weeks to get into the expansion draft in the NHL. That's going to be interesting. I'm
believe
excited.
We will be having a show
the day of
the actual expansion draft, so that's going to be an awesome show.
Yeah. But speaking of hockey, and speaking of the GOAT, speaking of, LeBron James and Michael Jordan's comparison.
This could be the GOAT of GOATs.
Yeah.
If you will.
I sat back and I just kind of thought of this, and I've had a few, conversations about this over the last week or so. And actually even longer than that, because I was at work, we were looking at stats and stuff like that.
Oh my God, it's disturbing.
It's
so disturbing.
It's funny. In every sport, you could sit back and have an argument that like we're having with Michael Jordan and LeBron James and Kobe
Apparently
Bryant
Magic
and
Johnson, according to
Magic Johnson
Pat
as well.
Riley.
Yeah. We can have a conversation in every sport. The one sport that you cannot have a conversation, because if you actually try to have this kind of argument, you're going to get slapped in the face.
There's
Wayne
no argument
Gretzky
to even have.
is not even. You cannot compare him to anybody. This guy is the greatest of all time, will always be the greatest of all time. Nobody's ever going to touch his numbers. His numbers are GOAT-like.
Like, people don't understand how truly ridiculous this guy was. If you have a few minutes,
I'm gonna bring up some stats.
no,
right
I know
now.
you are now, but it's just for the people out there. You know, you have a few free minutes, and you want to see something that's going to blow your mind. Just look at the stats list all time in hockey. Just look at Wayne Gretzky, and then look how far number two is.
And
it is so disturbing.
The funny thing about this, all right, well, it's not really funny, but Mario Lemieux is the only one that you can even sit back and say, if he did not have his problem where he had his cancer and he missed 4 years, if he did not have that, he would have pushed a limit on Wayne Gretzky. But it didn't happen like that. And
even then,
there is nobody even close. Because Mario Lemieux averaged 1.89 points per game.
That's insane, actually.
Wayne Gretzky was 1.92. So right there shows you. Wayne Gretzky played 1,400 games or so. Mario Lemieux played 915. So there is a big discrepancy in time, but the points are close, and the stats are close. And if Mario Lemieux really had a chance to beat out Wayne Gretzky. But I'm going to give you a few years here. All right. Well, first, before I even do that, before we get out of here, we're going over the time, but I don't really care. This year, and this is going to put everything into,
Just get ready. If you have a seatbelt.
Yeah. Connor McDavid was the only one to have a 100-point season this year. He had 100 points. Okay. Now we go into Wayne Gretzky.
I'm already like...
Now we go into Wayne Gretzky.
I already know what's about to happen.
All right?
Oh, God.
So his rookie year, he was 20 years old. 19 years old, actually. Played 79 games. He had 51 goals and 86 assists. That's 137 points, people. All right. Then he had a year of 164 points the next year. The year after that, 212 points. The year after that, 196. He had 205, 208, 215,
Doesn't he have like a 90-goal
183.
season?
He has a 92-goal season.
Like, what is that?
That year, he also had 120 assists.
I'm done.
No,
done.
He had 163 assists one year.
This is running up the score.
It is running up the score.
We're done here.
All right.
We're done here.
So, right there. All right. So now I'm just gonna compare. All right. So now points. Jaromir Jagr is the closest after Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky has all-time 28.57. That's the amount of points he has. Jaromir Jagr, who's still playing, who's
by the way
150 years old, he has 1,914. Now the game discrepancy here. All right, Wayne Gretzky played 1,487 games. Jaromir Jagr played 1,711
Oh my gosh.
games. And he's still playing.
He had 92 goals in 1 year. Connor McDavid had 100 points in a year.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. All right. But this is again, like I was saying, he averaged 1.92 points a game.
That's
That's
disturbing.
insane. Mario Lemieux, 915 games, 1,723 points. So you could see that he really had a chance to go up. Wayne Gretzky played 1,487 games. He had 2,857 points.
Okay.
Mario Lemieux is 915 games, 1,723 points.
Okay, so if you doubled the games, that would be
well, I wouldn't even say double the games. I would say, maybe 500 games more. 500 games more.
Would be like, at his 1.89 average, like almost another 1,000.
Yeah. So he's really close.
Yeah.
So like that just, goals, he has 894. The next was Gordie Howe at 801. Jaromir Jagr is the closest active at 765. After him is Jerome McGinley, 625. After him is Alexander Ovechkin at 554. Nobody is touching 894.
Nope.
Assist.
This is the scary one. I'm pretty sure this is horrifying.
He has 1,963 assists. The next active is Jaromir Jagr at 1,149.
We already clarified that, like, Jaromir Jagr could play like another 1,000 games. It still just wouldn't matter.
Exactly. Joe Thornton, 964. Henrik Sedin, 748. The assists per game, he has 1.3 assists per game. Mario Lemieux had 1.1.
I see Crosby there.
Crosby is 0.84. So
yeah, that tells you right there.
When you look at Crosby compared to Gretzky, nothing. It doesn't even come close. And like that's why I laughed when everybody was like, "Oh, Sidney Crosby," blah blah blah. But if you want to have a laugh, if you want to be interested in something, that is something to do.
That's a fun page to
just
look
go
at.
watch. Just go look up stats in hockey and just see where Wayne Gretzky is compared to everybody else. And when it comes to the other sports, you can actually have a conversation. You really can have a conversation.
No.
But hockey, you can't. And we're not going to have another conversation because that will do it. Until next week. We'll be back next week, Wednesday night, talking sports once again. We had a great show today. Game 3 is tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. Go check that out. But that will do it for Running Up the Score. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to our sponsor. Thank you to Flavor Living Radio as well. But that will do it. We'll be back next Wednesday, talking sports. Once again, keep an eye out for all our podcasts this week. They will be coming in the next 2 or 3 days. So go check those out. But I am Jerry.
And I'm Tom.
B. Breezy.
You've been listening to Running Up the Score on Zeno Radio.